Welcome to Chaotic Riff Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.chaoticriff.com. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and we're speaking with bass player Mick Watkins from a band Wylde Ryde. Now, Mick, I love the logo and I love the band's name. Talk a little bit about how you guys came up with that.
All right, well, thanks, man. Let's see, the band was formed, we formed Wylde Ryde in 2017.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay.
Right. And, one of the hardest things at first to, like when you're wanting to form a band, is to come up with a
name
that actually fits the music, fits your style, fits your, fits the image that you would portray, And so we batted around a bunch of different names,
Yeah.
And one night, me and Chief, who is the lead singer, guitar player, we were out at this sleazy, slimy strip club called the Greta. Right. And this place was really just kind of, pretty sleazy and kind of rank, And this girl walks past Chief and I, and Chief looks at me and says, "Man, I bet she would be a Wylde Ryde."
Wow! I love it. What a rock and roll way to name your band. But to give people kind of a description, I would describe your band after listening to the 6-song EP, Gasoline Alley. I'd say you guys sound, to me at least, like a cross between Guns N' Roses and Buckcherry. You got maybe a little bit of a punk element in there, but pretty nice kind of sleazy hard rock band, like you're saying. You guys are from Louisville, Kentucky, and I was reading the band members. Actually, like, you guys grew up around like a ghetto in Kentucky, and that some of the band members have gone through stuff and had family members lose their lives to gun violence. What was it like growing up, in an area like that?
Well, like our area of town, like it's the biggest city in Kentucky, and it's a great place to live.
Yeah.
But on the outskirts of the inner suburb.
Okay.
It has some really rough areas,
Yeah.
And we all have witnessed, like you said, losing family members to gun violence. My own mother died of a drug overdose.
Oh wow! Sorry to hear that.
Right. Thank you, man. And that was when I was 21 years old. So we've all been affected by that stuff.
Yeah. And
instead of letting that kind of atmosphere and background drag us down, like it has lots of
other people,
like friends of ours and stuff, we've decided to go against that, combat it with the power of rock and roll and our music. Yeah,
and the reason I bring that up is not only is it kind of an interesting thing to know about the band, but I'd imagine, number one, not that you necessarily want to have that kind of stuff to draw from, but you have no shortage of stuff to write about, as far as, your music.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that I think kind of makes us stick out of the pack is, our songs, our lyrics, it's not fantasy-laden stuff.
Yeah.
We all love this stuff, we all love, I love Ghost, we all love Iron Maiden, Alice Cooper, and bands like that. But, that's not really our style. We got a lot of real-life stuff to draw from influence-wise, that I think our audience and our future audience can really kind of, relate to and hone on to, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, sure it does. And not that it's the same type of thing, but, I always love listening to music where kind of it has a story to tell, or that people can use music to learn from. I mean, a good example of that is growing up, I was a fan of the band Tesla, and probably, like, as silly as it sounds, I might not know anything about who Nikola Tesla is if it was not for this great rock band out of Sacramento, California,
Right.
And I just love that this band, they kind of come up with this name based around this scientist, and a lot of their fans know of who this guy was just because of that one little rock band. And it's kind of interesting, like you say, you can use your music to kind of write from, growing up in the area you did and things you've experienced. And anytime, a lot of the best songwriters are guys, I mean, while you may laugh and I'm comparing it to this, but like stuff like, songwriters like Tom Petty, the Eagles, Bob Dylan, because those guys, you listen to any of their, I mean, you listen to any of those guys' songs, it sounds like it's a page out of their life. That's what makes those songs last so many years. I mean, even all these years later, you know, people are still listening to Bob Dylan songs on the radio. He just turned 80 years old. And I think by using the stuff you've experienced, you put it in your music, not only does it, you know, maybe it'll teach somebody, like, with what you experienced with your mother. Like, I bet that was a good thing for you in the sense that, okay, that's why I'm never going to touch a drug in my life, you know, or that's why not to do drugs. And maybe...
because, I mean, like, before my mom passed away, you know, I was out in the streets partying with friends, you know, and I was kind of starting to go in that same
direction
route that my mom was.
Yeah.
You know, but then when she died, you know, it kind of woke me up, and it, you know, like I said and thought, you know, dude, you only live, you know, one time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, fuck the drugs, fuck the nonsense, and, you know, really start getting, you know, like, worry about what actually matters in life, you know.
Yeah.
That's your family, your friends, your loved ones, and the music that you have inside of you that you really want to get out.
Oh yeah, that. I mean, you can hear it in the music, the passion you guys have for your music. I mean, probably the best thing I can tell you in listening to the 6-song EP, my only complaint was, I wish it would have been a full length, but I could see, okay, you want to have something out there, but the good thing about that is it left me wanting more, which is never a bad thing, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and
right, that's the plan with that, you know, that's the plan.
Yeah. And the thing too, in listening to all the songs, probably my top 2 favorite, the title track, Gasoline Alley. I mean, it's pretty, like, almost a full-blown on metal song. I mean, you don't get no more metal than that, and it's got quite an edge to it. And then I love the song. What is it? Let's see. I got it written down right here. Excuse me.
Sure.
Hold on me.
Hold on me is a good one. Yeah.
That's like a kind of like more of a it's got like a hard rock element to it. It's a little more of a radio kind of type of song. But see, I think those 2 songs kind of show both sides of the band, and then you've got other songs on there that aren't quite a ballad, but they're not, you know, a metal song either. So it kind of shows all sides of the band, which I think is great. You guys really accomplished that on the EP.
Nice, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, you know, I mean, we're all fans. We all love, like, you know, like, rock stuff. We all love, like, we're all huge Kiss fans. You know?
Oh yeah.
Motley Crue, you know, old Aerosmith, Cheap Trick. You know what I mean? But then we love, like metal, like Metallica, Judas Priest, and stuff in that style, you know. And we just take all of those, like, influences and combine it with our, you know, with our street sense.
Yeah.
And everything that we've known in our lives, just throw it onto a blender, and that's when you get Wylde Ryde. You know?
Yeah. Oh wow. And you mentioned earlier Alice Cooper, who I'm a huge fan of, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but a lot of his music, like "School's Out," is turning 50 years old this year. If you can believe that. Probably really his first real kind of Alice Cooper album, as far as, you know, doing the rock stuff, was the album "Love It to Death," and that was the first. And that was the first album he did with Bob Ezrin. And if you're an Alice Cooper fan, you might be interested in doing this. You can go on YouTube and check out some of his earlier albums, like the second album by Alice Cooper Band. It was called "Pretty's for You." It's almost it's almost a psychedelic album. It sounds nothing like Alice Cooper we know. But when he started working with Ezrin, I mean, if you go back to "Love It to Death," which is the first thing he worked with Alice Cooper on, that's got Bob Ezrin stamp all over it. I mean, he ultimately changed in a great way, if you know what I mean, the Alice Cooper sound, and it's been that ever since. And I think that goes to show you the importance of having an outside producer that's, you know, got that kind of a talent.
It does, you know, and going with Alice Cooper, dude, like, I'm a full-blown Alice Cooper geek.
Yeah.
Alice Cooper was actually the first band or artist that I really loved as a kid.
Yeah, and because, you know, you got to remember, Alice was both, you know, not just musically, but when you go see him in concert, very theatrical. The music, you listen to albums, is very theatrical, but the songwriting, it's all it's all there. Of course, Alice is the only one in the band made up, but it doesn't matter. He's the focal point anyways. But what I love talking about Alice Cooper today, I got his latest album, Detroit Stories, which came out last year. Once again, produced by Bob Ezrin. It's just as good as the classic stuff. I agree. And you know, he's still at it. He's at the top of his game. The guy's like 75 years old, and he's got it more together than guys half his age.
Right. I think a great song from that is "Shut Up and Rock."
Oh yeah. And what I love
that song. Yeah, that song's a good one, dude.
Oh yeah, and so as far as getting out and touring behind this album, you guys already started that, or you plan to go on tour behind this?
Our tour actually starts, I believe our first date is March 26th, which is here in, I think 2 weeks.
Okay.
You know, like that goes through, and we've got selected dates, you know, like touring through the southern and the midwestern areas of the U.S., and those dates are running from March 26th, I believe, through October.
Yeah.
You know, and in each week we're like adding like different dates.
Yeah.
You know, but mostly right now it's the southern states and the Midwest, because that's really the areas that we've been hitting on the most and focusing on the most.
Yeah, and then I got to give a huge shout out to your publicist, Michael Brandville, because he's the one that helped set up the interview today. And for anybody who doesn't know, I mean, this guy's a publicist. He's legendary, but he's worked with everybody from, you know, Kiss to Britney Spears, just to give you guys an idea of, you know, who the publicist behind Wylde Ryde is. And that shows you guys got a great team behind you, because, I mean, I was just reading something on Wylde Ryde on, I think, Sleazy Rock that just posted the last couple of days. So you guys are starting to get out there, and I'm starting to see things about the band all over the internet.
Awesome. Thank you, man. You know, like, that's the goal. And, you know, like, bringing up Mike, you know, because, like, I love Kiss. Kiss is, like, a band that changed my life, you know. And, like, growing up with the Kiss band, when I did in the 90s, like, I always followed Mike. You know, like I knew of Mike from back in the, you know, when he was he ran the Kiss Online. Yeah. You start out as Kiss Asylum, and I'm sure you've heard his radio podcast he does with his friends called Three Sides of the Coin. I mean, you never would think that a guy could do so many shows on, you know, just the band Kiss and people kind of associated with the band. You know, I think this is their 12th year doing it or something like that, something crazy. Yeah, they're great at what they do, and absolutely. So again, just to let people know, that's the kind of people that are behind this band Wylde Ryde, you know, and helping to promote the band. And I think you guys are, I think you guys are well on your way. So thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, and so let's talk about some other songs. Another one I liked on here was Six Gun Shooter. Yeah, Six Gun Shooter, that, let's see, for our shows, that is our last song.
Oh,
show,
cool.
You know?
Wow.
And it's the perfect way to just really rock the audience that last time, you know, and then to send our audience out of the venue just wanting more.
Yeah, I mean,
it never fails.
It sounds nothing like it, but just it's kind of like every time I've ever gone to see, you know, speaking of Kiss, to see a Kiss show, they almost always end it with rock and roll all night and party every day. You know, like that's kind of like our version of rock and roll all night. Yeah. And even though it still has that attitude and vibe to it, you know, because it's got a chorus, the Six Gun Shooter, where the audience can sing it with us, you know, and you know, with their fist in the air, rocking out and shit. So and then
it's a great way to end the show.
And then we were talking about the title track, Gasoline Alley, which like anybody who's a metal fan, there's no way you can say that's not a metal tune.
Right.
And I love the video. I mean, it's kind of a performance piece, like the band kind of just, you know, playing the song together. But talk about the video. I mean, was that an all-day affair or what?
Yeah, the video, it took us, I would say that video, all in all, has taken us about 6 to 8 hours.
Oh, wow.
And, we filmed that in the middle of the ghetto in an old rundown abandoned warehouse.
Wow.
Here in the ghetto of Portland, Kentucky, you know.
Yeah.
And we just had a great time, and we worked with a young cat named Mafario.
Yeah.
He's the director of it, and he just totally killed it. He took like everything we told him we wanted.
Yeah.
You know, he took the vision we had and then added his own vision to it.
Well, you know,
and that was a great video. We all were very pleased with it.
Because here's the thing. You watch the video, it's kind of simple. It's a band kind of performing the song, I guess in a warehouse or something. It looks pretty simple, but at the same time, it looks like a professionally shot video, like you'd see something on MTV back in the day. To me, it's that good. That's why I was asking. And I love it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And I love the fact that, and I'm not being a smartass either, that you know, that you're not ashamed to say, oh, we shot in the ghetto or from the ghetto. That's kind of cool because, you know, first of all, like you're not ashamed where you're from, and you shouldn't be. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of what gives this band an edge. Is kind of it gives you a little bit of street cred. Not that you really want it, but you know what I mean.
Right, exactly. Because, you know, like the thing with us is we are real. You know, this isn't some kind of a gimmick or an act.
Yeah.
You know?
That's my point.
We are straight up, you know.
Yeah, that's my point. I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, but like you watch like some of these reality shows like they used to have on MTV back in the day, and even some of these reality shows today, they're not really reality. Right. Everything's thought out and plotted out, and they're trying to come across like, you know, it's so real, but it's really, you can tell when it's not, and you can tell when it's.
Absolutely, you know, and I think there's lots of bands that are that style too.
Yeah, and so
you know, I don't want to name any names.
Yeah.
Lots of bands that are kind of phony and
you
know,
and
things like that as well.
And we know who they are. Like you said, we're not going to name names, but and the other thing I wanted to ask you was, how old were you when you first started playing the bass, and kind of talk about why you chose the bass as your instrument?
Okay, well, yeah, man. Let's see. I grew up. My dad's house.
Okay.
Was just full of music, man. My dad played in bands back in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, cool.
You know, so I grew up around music. Music was always playing, you know, like either on my dad's stereo, or if I would go to band practice and, like, watch him play, or, like, go to his shows and clubs that I could, you know, the kids.
Wow.
You know, so, right, so I just grew up around it, you know.
So that's kind of a flip side of a story, that you know, you grew up around music and Dad was really supportive, whereas other people want to grow up and be musicians. They don't have their parents' support with that. You know, they want you to go to college or, you know, get a fallback career or something like that.
Exactly, but mine, you know, he was just, you know, he like loved seeing it, you know.
I bet,
yeah. Like, he passed the torch to me, you know, and I actually started out playing guitar.
Okay.
Right? But whenever I was going to high school, the marching band at Valley High School was needing a bass player.
Wow.
All right, you know. So like, really with that, I was kind of like, you know what, that sounds fun. That sounds like an awesome gig to take. So from then on, I switched to bass.
Wow.
And, right, and then around that same time, I formed my first band. It was called Metal. It was called Metal Morphosis.
Oh, cool.
You know? Right, and then I played bass in that, and then from then on, you know, like I went through a few different bands, and like I would switch off and on to guitar and bass. But then when we were forming Wylde Ryde, Keith and Tom were forming Wylde Ryde, I had heard that they needed a bass player. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to switch back to bass, and I'm going to jam with these guys.
Oh, okay. Great story. And I got two more questions for you, Mick, and then I'll let you go, because I know your time is limited and you got to get back to work. But as far as heroes, you know, other bass players that kind of influenced you, who would those guys be?
Oh, let's see, my bass heroes. Definitely, I would say the top dudes, like the styles that really stick to me. Gene Simmons is my number one.
Wow. Okay.
Gene Simmons, who's a very underrated bass player.
I agree. Like I said, I'm a huge Kiss fan.
Everybody thinks of the blood and the fire, and some of the dumb things that he says in the press.
Yeah.
But if you just take all away, you know, the gimmicks and you know, attitude that the guy has, he's an awesome bassist. He's a great bassist. But I would say Gene Simmons, 56, is another one.
Definitely.
Bob Paisley, who played with like Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
Great guys. Gene Simmons, huge Kiss fan myself, and I say about Gene, what I love about him, I think very underrated in everything he does. I mean, he's a very talented. If you know anything about, he can sing lead. He writes his own. he writes his own songs, plays the bass.
Right.
That's not something that's easy to do. And interesting thing about him, the way he writes his songs, a lot of times I've heard him talk that he typically will come up with the song title first, and then he'll kind of write the lyrics around the song title, which is kind of a different way of doing it. So quite unique.
It's
and as far as the spitting the fire and and the blood and all that, I was reading that how that got started was when Kiss was first formed back in 1972. They were at an early photo shoot, and Gene was kind of just trying to get the photographer's attention, like just started sticking his tongue out, and Paul Stanley kind of got pissed. What are you doing, man? What are you doing, sticking your tongue out? And he's like, I'm trying to get the photographer to kind of take notice of me. And think about that's kind of a very intelligent thing to do, and it kind of became his trademark, his thing. And when people think of Gene Simmons, they say, what do they say? The guy that sticks his tongue out.
The guy with the tongue, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Gene's an awesome bassist.
And then the final question I was going to ask you, in regards to Gasoline Alley, the new 6-song EP,
sure.
Can people get physical copies, or is it just available digitally right now?
Well, it's both, honestly. We're on all of the different streaming sites. The YouTube Music,
cool.
Spotify, Amazon Music. But if you want the CD, we have that available, and our previous EP, which is called City Street, and that was released in 2018. It's on www.wildride.bandcamp.com.
Okay, we will send people there.
We have both of the EP, Gasoline Alley and City Street, and we've got T-shirts. We got patches, stickers, booty shorts, butt plugs, lunch boxes. We got it all, man.
Well, we will send people there, and I will send you a little message later when I get home from work myself, Mick, as far regarding the photos like we were talking about, and I'll wait for you to okay that. And then I'm gonna try to, like I said, post an interview up next Monday. I'll let you know once I got confirmation on that. So have a great rest of your day, and I'd love to talk to you again.
Sounds great, man. Anytime.
Okay, take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right, man. Have a great one. Thanks for the interview.
Anytime. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Chaotic Riffs Magazine.